Okay, so this is where things get interesting. The prince promised to return to his princess and to one day celebrate this great wedding feast, and once and for all, sin and selfishness would be done. But not long after his ascension, the villain, the devil himself, the dragon, began to seduce the princess. And at first it was subtle, but eventually he had her drinking his wine of lies, and she became drunk on the blood of anyone who would dare disagree with her. To many, she still seemed to be the princess, but instead of residing in Jerusalem, she made her home in Rome. And she declared that the law, well, it had to be changed. She said salvation comes through her and not through the prince. And Isaiah chapter 1 saw this happening, and it was written down long before. And yet somehow it got worse than it was even declared. It said, "How has the faithful city become a prostitute? She was once full of justice and righteousness, but now she's full of murderers. She's been unfaithful to the prince, and instead now she's in bed with the prince of darkness." And so in the Church of Rome, it convinces the world that she was the way to salvation and not the prince. So the princess becomes the harlot, sleeping with the kings of the earth and forcing them into submission. And Daniel 7:25 foretells what she would do. It says, "He shall speak great words against the Most High, shall wear out the saints of the Most High, think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and half a time." And the church in Rome, declaring salvation only comes from her, changing the holidays from those in Scripture to the pagan festivals, claiming the change of the Sabbath from the 7th to the first day of the week, and destroying the sanctuary salvation illustration, was allowed to rule the world for 1,260 years until she fell in 1798. But the good news, there was a few faithful. The Protestant Reformation, led by Martin Luther, was the candle that shined in those dark ages. And after him, the founders of the Methodists and the Baptists and the Wesleyans and more, they reminded the world of the beautiful teaching she had forgotten. But as time went on, many kept adhering and going back to the tenets of the mother church in Rome. And Bible prophecy would warn us of another rise of Babylon, the Great. 1 Peter chapter 5, Peter identifies Rome as Babylon. And the irony here is that Rome would say that Peter was the founder of the Roman church. But as time went on, the church lost her way. She went in the bride of Christ, but she comes out the other side of Revelation 17, and she's become a harlot. And John in vision is shocked. But hope is still alive, because the mystery hasn't fully been revealed yet.